All right, greetings, y'all. This is Body-Culinary, sending you all some warm, positive vibrations. So, still in full celebration of my Earth Day that has just that has just passed, and it's a new um, solar cycle. So I don't play. I don't really play too much into age. So, body culinary. What is body culinary? Obviously, it's body, right? The body temple as well as culinary. I'm a person that really loves to eat and loves to prepare food, in particular, whole living unprocessed foods. So, what I like to encourage on this channel is cultivating a personal movement practice, right? That is vigorous. Greetings, that is vigorous. I call it joyous movement, right? So big over here on this channel on reframing the narrative, right? And I am of the experience and of the perspective that you do not need a gym. You never needed a gym. So this whole era of what we've been experiencing has just confirmed what I've been saying for the longest time. You don't need a gym. In particular, if you are a woman, a young woman at school, or if you're a mother, especially if you're a mother, I am a mom. And my movement practice is very, very important to me for therapy. It's been my form of therapy. One of the biggest things in my toolbox of self-care. So in this channel, what I like to encourage is your personal movement practice, cultivating and starting a garden, whatever space that you are in. So really being proactive and not giving way to the very valid excuses, right? Otherwise, the very valid excuses are going to run your life. They're valid excuses. And so if you let them run your life, if you say you can't, you can't. So I'm all about assisting folks that are open mentally to removing your excuses and swapping them out for possibilities, all the different possibilities that you have for creating what you want. And so the movement practice, it's our dojo. So you have your movement practice, cultivating a garden, and consuming peacefully, right? Whatever label that's your business, I give two peach pits about the label. It's about the results. The results are your vitality, your longevity, how you feel in your body, your mood, your elimination, the texture of your skin. I'm someone that's had a lot of acne and marks. So my lifestyle is it's very simple. It's simple. Consuming peacefully, the ratios, that will depend on your results, your spending plan, your time frame, but all of that can be worked out, right? You just want to get into the conversation and into the process, right? So you've got your food, you've got your movement practice, right? Peaceful, loving food that loves you back. You've got your movement practice and you've got your garden. From there, you just fill in the blanks. The guide that if you want to see more about the food, if you don't have access to me, you can download that on body-culinary.com. So that's whole living foods in the hood with menus to fit your budget. So today I just came on a little moment of inspiration in celebration of my Earth Day, my solar return. Yet again, I plan on being here for a long time. It's to share just a bit of my my movement practice. So I keep it very simple. I love music, but also a lot of times I can move without music. So there are a couple of things that I would like to address, and these are things to go in the cocoon, but I'm going to share them in honor of my Earth Day, and hopefully you can find some inspiration here. So be mindful, I am only 5'2". I'm only 5'2", right? So I love to cut the guesswork, and that is what we go over in efficient fitness, as well as common sense nutrition, right? So here is a scale, one of many scales. So people have underestimated or overestimate my age, how much I weigh, all of that. I am 5'2". I do not diet. I have my natural tetas, knock on wood. They're tumor free and they're healthy. That's my main priority. All of my body parts, I never thought I would have to say are natural, right? So many folks are concerned about losing weight. So I invite you, I'm all about shifting paradigms, right? So I'm going to just step on the scale so that you can see. Right, and this can vary. So there's so many different things. I'm 135 pounds, one of my thicker weights right now. I just went to 135. That was pretty quick, but I'll put on it again. So 135 pounds. I'm 5'2". Well, now it's at 136. Look at that. This is Miss Vegan. I don't even know if you can see that. This is Miss Vegan Raw Foods, right? So when people are tripping out, It's composition. Do I look crazy, out of shape to you? And I am. You know, I'm not in my 20s. I'm not in my 30s. I'm not in my 40s. I don't have to diet. I don't take any supplements. I don't do any protein powders, although I've done all of those things before. So I say this out there. I love distinctions because distinctions make the difference. I want to emphasize and point out composition. Your body's composition, the ratio of lean mass to water to bone to muscle. Quite often people are talking about losing weight, but they're not making distinctions in those things. I am only 5'2". I've actually been much heavier and look smaller. So this is me not really doing a whole lot in terms of my movement practice and nearly as many hours as I used to do. I'm not totally sucking in my stomach, you know, and all of that stuff. So this is vitality. I feel good in my body. I can get stiff sometimes. I can be more conditioned. I can be less conditioned depending on what I'm doing. My body's intelligent. Your body temple is intelligent. It's responding to all of the stimulus you're putting onto it or what you're not doing to it. If you're not making it work, then, you know, to be quite honest, you shouldn't expect to have tone if you're not making it work. You most likely, even though you can't see, will not have good bone density if you're not safely challenging the body, right? And then also in terms of stress release, vigorous, joyous movement, people call it exercise. I like to reframe it. So today I'm going to do a movement. I'm going to be posting some of the movement practices. I think I'll park them on Body-Culinary, maybe perhaps as well on Gumroad. So I'm not going to take you through the whole thing because it's fun for me. It's I like to add a lot of education, especially when I'm working with women, so you keep yourself safe. If you go too fast, you don't listen to your body, you're likely to injure yourself. That's going to be a big turnoff, and many people are blaming the exercise when their form may likely have been incorrect. They may not be translating the exercise to understand the movements, right? The movements properly, may not be warming up their bodies efficiently. There's so many different things. People like to just bypass process. Sometimes just, you know, in innocent ignorance, or sometimes the ego, as I like to say, the ego will take out the host. So there's a lot of things I can do with just my body weight, right? So I say it all the time, right? If you have just simply a mat, of course, a towel, a nice big glass of water. Some of the things that I will use with clients are bottles of water that are around the house, bands, right? And there are some different distinctions that I make with corrective exercises. There are a lot of people that have injuries. Common injuries are usually in the knees, the shoulders, the lower back. I didn't get my first injury until probably around 45. So it's very, very humbling for me, but I'm also very, very cognizant and conscious that everyone's body is different. I can't jump into your body and see how you feel. And then also, many of us are so eager and so anxious that we may not notice soreness or that we've injured ourselves unless it's a really sharp injury until it's too late. So safety, listening to your body, slowing down and relaxing, breathing, being present in your body is huge. If we have a good foundation, we're going to have the sustainability and we're going to have the longevity, right? We're going for vitality, how you feel, longevity, so you can move well into your hundreds, right? Beauty, right? So all of that delicious food that we're eating and all those expensive supplements and herbs that you're paying for, you need to circulate it throughout the body. Many people come onto the channel for hair. But if you want your hair, somebody was recommending some fast growth, and I'm sure they have well-meaning and well-intentioned. Fast growth this and fast growth that is, to my comprehension, it's the food. How does all the nutrition get into the shampoos and all the other things I focus on, which works for me, and I'm at peace with focusing on food, but it cannot circulate if we're clogged and we're eating a lot of dried paste and deep fried foods. There's no water content, right? Most of the body is water. If you're all dried out, how can your transport system move all those nutrients around the body? This is why if you come and spend some time, you will learn if you stay engaged and you stay in the process, right? It's a lot of little things. I don't want to overwhelm people with information, right? But having a good foundation, keeping yourself safe, understanding basic movement patterns, That's how you're going to stay safe. You don't need a lot. If you just have a mat, you have some bottles of water, just your own body weight. Trust me, that is more than enough. Any person of any age can get into a personal movement practice that will likely, you may be more attracted to yoga. You may be more attracted to cardio. As we have seen, as I've confirmed, a lot of this you may need to do in your own house. So this period has been a great example of how can I utilize the space that I pay rent or mortgage for? How can I maximize my space with your healing laboratory, your hydrotherapy room, right? Space to play. I'm big on play. So more than a whole bunch of furniture, I've got play spaces everywhere with my aerial silks and my pole. Anything I want to get into, I have an adventure. So that being said, we're going to do just a little bit of a movement practice, and we're going to start with warming up, right? A lot of times, folks are getting injured because we disrespect the body. There's not a respect for the body, and respect for the body means warming up. You don't go from 0 to 100. So we have all of these different muscles and bones and joints, and the joints in particular, and the muscles and connective tissue need to be warmed up, right? So the connective tissue, tendons, and ligaments are kind of like, if I think of this is really, really stiff and it's really tight, I don't have the range of movement. So we want to warm the body up so that all these tendons and ligaments, they can become more pliable, and then we have more of a full range of motion. If I have a limited range of motion, I'm here. If I have a fuller range of motion at my joints, right, then I'm less likely to get injured. This is also where you want to make sure, right, that you are extremely and well, not extreme, but well hydrated. And this does not mean gulping down all of your water at one time. See, these things we're not thinking because we're so disconnected. We're not supposed to be gulping down chugs and gallons of water all in one sitting. That's unnatural, right? This is why I say a lot of times it's a mentality. You actually want to sip your water and chew your food thoroughly. See, there's so much. We could be here for hours. But I would like you to, I invite you, because I like to tell grown folks what to do, to slow down and marinate, right? This is one of the reasons why we don't have sustainability. We're moving too fast and we're not processing the information. So you're going to make sure I know that this glass is at least 20 ounces, right? So remember, common sense nutrition and also an efficient fitness, we cut out the guesswork. So you come and spend time, it's like when I spent time with Grandma Lou and I spent time with my godparents, that's how I learned. This is one of the reasons why I say it's not just a recipe. It's not just give me a bunch of exercise. It's about the comprehension. And it's about the light bulbs going off. So you got water. I know that this is 20 ounces, right? Do you know how much water you're supposed to drink every day? So these are some of the things that we're going to go over that we're going over in common sense nutrition and also efficient fitness. So right from your own home. If you don't have one of these or a towel, you can also use a piece of African fabric, which I use a lot. And we're going to use these different little tools, right? A little piece of fabric or maybe even a string, whatever you have around you. You don't necessarily have to go around and pay a whole bunch of money for expensive products. And again, usually if we're buying bottles of water or vinegar, right, multi-purpose, you don't have to go out and spend a whole bunch of money on equipment that many people aren't even using. So that being said, right, take home lessons is that it's not just about the weight on the scale. I can tell you one thing, we do use the scale, but it's not the only determinant because that scale, unless you have one of the fancier scales, is not really distinguishing between water weight. It's not distinguishing between fatty tissue or adipose tissue, right? And the most dangerous place for adipose tissue is around the midsection, and it's also not distinguishing the weight of your bones. So that being said, a simple warm-up, right? So we're going to start with the head. Just taking the head over side to side. Making an effort not to have any kinds of jerky movements, and I'll be talking to you the whole time. You can feel free to replay this later, right? So a couple of things I'm going to make mention of is the posture. So a lot of us is walking around like this. This is going to make my stomach look bigger. This is also going to give you back pain, right? So what I like to do is this bowl of your pelvis. If I kind of use my pants as a marker, I'm going to make sure that we're tucking the pelvis, this bowl of the pelvis and the pubic bone here. We're going to tuck it under. So what that starts to do is to lengthen your spine. This, you don't even notice, you're looking kind of cute. This is pinching your spine and your back. It's going to give you back pain, right? It makes your stomach look like it's protruded. And then also your organs are not able to support the back. So we're going to tuck that under so we have a nice long spine. If you ever so slightly squeeze your butt cheeks just a little bit slightly, that will also help you to tuck this under. So we're going to make sure that we have good posture so we're not jacking ourselves up, right? So taking the head over from side to side. I'm pulling my belly button gently into my spine. So if I put my hand on your lower back, you want to be taking your belly button and making it touch my hand and back of you. So that's also going to help you to engage your core muscles, right? So I'm just going to tilt the spine forward and back because we don't realize the neck gets very stiff. I'm going to look over to the right and to the left. So quite often, if we're ignoring these body parts, these are some areas where we'll get injured because it hasn't been warmed up. This is also considered a joint, and it's also part of your spine, right? This part of your skull is also your cervical spine, right? So we're going to take very gentle rolls around, very, very soft and gentle around, right? It's no joke to have a stiff neck, and you will likely have a stiff neck and feel lots of stiffness just by virtue of you being deconditioned if you haven't been moving your body temple, right? So working from the skull, just rolling the shoulders back so I can feel my arms are sore from my recent movement practices, right? So the arms should be feeling nice and heavy, big shoulder rolls up and around so I can get some blood flow, right, going in this area. Common injury is the shoulders, right? And we also want the body to be able to move in all the different directions that it's able to move into. So I'm going to take some arm circles, right? When I'm circling my arms, I'm also able to get a stretch in my chest. This is the area that can get jacked up, and it's all connected the chest to the shoulders and doing push-ups. Very, very easy to get injured there, right? So making sure that I get synovial fluid. Synovial fluid is in all the joints. I'm kind of lubricating my joints, kind of like the Tin Man in the Wizard of Oz, right? So I'm swinging the arms forward and back. So I'm actually warming up my shoulders, right? Again, that's a common injury point. Good, so I'm going to take my hips around to the right side, over to the front. When I come to the front now, so I don't jack my back up, I'm squeezing my glutes. If I squeeze my butt cheeks together, that's helping me to protect my lower back. I'm going over to the left side and then over to the back. When I reach my hips back, like I'm trying to touch my glutes to the back wall, I'm feeling a tremendous stretch in the back of my hamstrings. So I'm taking it all the way around, pushing my hips and my glutes all the way to the back wall. The whole time, I want to be aware of my breathing and reverse it, taking your hips to all of those corners. So we may not be moving at all. How can we expect the body to be nice and toned and fit or conditioned or able to get out of the way of harm if we're not moving, right? Next movement pattern, I like to refer to movement patterns, is touching your knees to your chest. So you're actually trying or making the effort to touch the knee to the chest. Now, for some people, this may seem like I'm not doing anything. Some people may be totally sweaty already, right? And that may be a factor of being deconditioned. Now, the beautiful thing here is I'm also stretching my lower back. And at the same time, each time I bring that knee up and I make an effort to touch the chest. So this is different than putting my knee on my chest. So if you have issues with your knees, quite often we're doing modifications on the movement. If you can't jump, you can always touch your knee to your chest. I'm actually also using my core muscles, right? Not just abs, but my internal core muscles at the same time, right? So now we want to be able to move the body in all the different directions that it can move. So my second toe is pointed straight ahead. I'm going to step out to the right side, right? So I don't want my toes turned out. I want my toes pointing straight ahead. And also, my knees are pointed straight ahead. I'm going to go over to the side now. Feel a big stretch on my side. I'm going to touch the hand down and come right back. So I'm feeling a stretch. This is considered a moving or dynamic stretch. So I have both feet pointing straight ahead. Good. So we're going to step out to the other side. Again, my pelvis is tucked under, belly button is pulled into the spine. Stepping out to the left side. So you may be mirroring, this may be your right side, but this is my left. And I'm taking my time. I'm not slamming my feet down into the floor. And I'm being mindful of my breathing. Right? Some other things that we fail quite often to warm up are the wrists and also the ankles. So I'm going to warm up my ankles by exaggerating, making some circles with my feet. And I'm going to reverse that around. So for many people, if you're a super beginner, it may be a lot for you just to invest in education and warm up. Start slow. Just get something going. Because first, it's the mental. Something else we don't want to ignore is the knees, right? Many of us have issues with our knees and think that we can't squat. But you have to sit in the chair and you have to sit on the toilet. So I'm going to pick my right leg up and I'm going to stir a big pot of gumbo with my right leg. And I'm going to stir a pot of gumbo to the opposite side. Now this, believe it or not, is also, I'm challenging my balance, right? Again, while most people are interested in muscles and what we look like in the skin, nobody's thinking of the joint. Nobody's thinking of balance, right? Usually when we get injured and we have falls, and for many of us, our lifespan goes down and we become older as seniors. And when we have falls, we're not thinking about challenging balance. So I'm going to come up onto my toes and I'm going to reverse it where my toes are curling up like I'm trying to touch my toes to my face, right? So I'm warming up my calves. Good, next movement pattern. So this is going to be homework for you folks in the cocoon. We're going to sit back into a squat. Now, many people say that they cannot squat. If you feel unsafe, you can always take a little stool, and I have a stool right here. You can always take a little stool so that you can feel comfortable and safe, right? And you can sit down on it. Now, when I'm sitting down, my knees and my toes about hip width apart are facing forward. My belly button is drawn into my spine. That's it. So this is a squat. If you have to sit on a toilet, or if you have to sit and get up and down inside of the chair, that is a squat. So we don't necessarily have to load the body up with additional weight. You can always, if you're more advanced, add the water bottles or some other weight. But initially, that's enough. So you can always, if you're not comfortable, use a stool. Today, I'm going to sit down a little bit deeper. I'm going to open my legs a little wider than hip distance, and I'm going to feel a big stretch. Now, I want you to notice if you feel tightness at all inside of your hips, and notice if you are tilting over, because you may be just that tight. So this is what the movement patterns we're doing today we call functional movement, because you want to be able to do these movement patterns for years to come. You want to be able to get down, stand up, and get down, right? And notice if your heels are coming off the floor, if you're not able to keep yourself upright. This is actually going to burn more calories and more fuel from your fuel tank than sitting inside of a machine, right? So just if I just take these and I sit and I make an effort to put my hands in prayer position and push my knees open, I'm feeling a big stretch. And then also to maintain my posture, I'm opening up my chest. So even a couple of these can get your body nice, good, and hot. And then the last movement pattern for today, we're going to place our hands on the floor, and I'm going to be inside what I call tabletop position. So I'm not here, and I'm not here. Again, I'm pulling my belly button into the spine. My hands are open nice and wide. And also, you see here, I'm shaking down. This will jack up your shoulders. I'm pressing my hands away from the floor, and my toes are actually curled under. So from this position, I'm going to press my hands into the floor and my heels into the floor, and I feel a tremendous stretch in the back of my legs. And I'm going to drop my knees back down to the floor. I'm going to continually keep pulling my belly button into the spine. Good, and dropping down. Again. Good, and dropping down. So if you're not able to, you may be in a position, you may be too dizzy, or you may not have the upper body strength to do that. If you cannot, if you cannot do that, then your alternative movement pattern for that is just to press your hands away from the floor, so stretching your upper back. You can break that up, right? That's number one. And then number two is to just place your hands and then straighten the legs and then bend them. So you can break that movement pattern up into two pieces, and I'm still feeling a tremendous stretch in the back of my legs. So that may already have you nice and sweaty. So we're going to be going more into workout. So this is foundational. So this will be parked here. This is a lot for you to start to change and to refine your mentality, to get very clear. I like to say clarity is worth its weight in gold. To have a good foundation of understanding why you're doing the movement patterns that you're doing. It will keep you injury safe, keep you injury free, keep you safe from injury, and also you will have more of a comprehension of what you're doing. The other thing today is I have on, oh, this is going kind of long. So I have on one of my heart rate monitors. Many of us have fitness trackers and heart rate monitors that we're not using, right? We may not know how to use them. We may have received them as gifts and we're not using them. So this is one that I'm using. And so most of the heart rate monitors now will have apps that come on your phone, right? So this one is hooked up to my phone, so I can see right now that my heart rate is at 100. So if you're taking any kinds of medications, or if you feel very unsafe, or you have a heart condition, it is good to see exactly what your heart is doing. And you're going to be in for some other surprises, right? So in Common Sense Nutrition and Efficient Fitness, you may be playing guesswork with how much do I need to do to, if I need to drop a whole lot of additional adipose tissue off of my body. So if you have one of these fitness trackers, whip them out, right? Pull up the manual so you can see the model number and you can see how to operate it. Get it set up with your current weight and your gender, and put all of that stuff in it, because that's what we're going to be using inside of Efficient Fitness. So I hope that you have found this video helpful. Please feel free to share it with a friend, your mother, or your auntie, because we really want to cut the guesswork. A lot of times, again, people might get irritated because they ask me for more recipes, and it's googads of recipes. There's no shortage of recipes, right? But I highly encourage you to get clear on your why you want to embark on a movement pattern, movement practice, and upgrading your fuel, right? For me, it's longevity, it's vitality, it's beauty, as well as my mood, right? And notice I didn't put any labels there. Right. And I also want to encourage you, you don't have to diet. Again, I'm only 5'2". I'm about 135 pounds right now. So if I don't move right, and I've got a lot of 401k deposit from movement habits, my eating habits, right? Those things have served me well. That's my default. Moving inside the garden, I don't really count that as my workout. Riding my bicycle, that's transportation. Those things are what I like to say have saved me. Those are constant deposits. And I have orchestrated that and designed my life to have movement included in my life. So I'm giving you some insight on how you can make this a simple, beautiful lifestyle. When people say they wish they could live the lifestyle, riding my bicycle, no matter where I am in the world, I go get a used bicycle, right? Then also cutting the guesswork out. We're using whatever fitness trackers you have available to you. If you don't have one, that's fine. But if you do have one, you might want to whip those different things out. So that's what we're going to be using inside of the classes, right? So your composition and your performance are going to tell you more than the weight on the scale. However, if you have a lot of adipose tissue to lose, it is definitely, the scale is a tool that we can use when you know how to use it efficiently. Right, so share the video, support the channel, give it a thumbs up if you found some value, and I will see you soon.